When I started advertising, I got frustrated. If you're curious about the biggest problem you have in LinkedIn right now, pull up your company's LinkedIn profile. And when you go to your LinkedIn profile, look at what category LinkedIn puts you in. You're gonna find that it's not actually what you do. For example, if you look at Asana on LinkedIn right now, they do software development. But if I were to target the category of software development on LinkedIn, or Meta or Facebook, whatever that is, do you think I would get more companies in Ukraine that do software development or more companies like Asana? Probably companies in Ukraine that do outsourced software development, right? In other words, we have so much waste in our go-to-market strategy because we're relying on someone else's data, and all we have to do then is we only get the output. We never get to validate the input. In other words, we have to wait till sales says, was that a good lead or not, instead of knowing it was a good lead before we ever spent on it. That's a very different concept. And so the first thing we're going to do together, we're going to build a data provider. You know, we have the blessing of working with ZoomInfo. I think they're great, but some of these other players work quite well, especially if you're in your tech, like Crunchbase, Seamless, Clearbit. Any of these providers are terrific. But they're all equally bad, if you've ever used one of these, at like just having waste in their data. Data categorization is exceptionally hard. So the first thing that we're going to choose a data provider, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go through our current portfolio. We're going to look at our current customers, and we're going to enrich them. So who here has a list of all your customers, but maybe hasn't enriched it yet? You guys know what enriching is? Like filling out all the firmographic data, employee size, tech used, all these different things. So then what we do is we can run what's kind of like a regression analysis to see what character traits of your ideal customer persona make them statistically more significant to fit within your ICP. So some of our customers, we find if they have an active tech count of over 100 on BuiltWith, their AOV skyrockets. It goes up 200%. So now when we go back into the total addressable market they're serving, we find every single solitary customer that matches that firmographic profile. This is the most important part of going to market these days. We do not have to guess anymore. So what we are literally going to do is we're going to look at our exact customers, and we're going to figure out exactly what makes them better. Who we retain the most, who we're the most multi-threaded with, aka most products or services sold into, who has the greatest AOV, what segments have the highest gross margin, which then allows for EBITDA and cash flow to reinvest in top-line revenue growth. And we're going to start to piece apart exactly what makes someone a great fit for our business. I did something a little different because I wanted to take this further, and I wanted to figure out in my business how much spend you have is often indicative of how large your contract is, right? If you bill as a percent of spend, the larger you spend, the larger your contract is. So I built a tool of over 20,000 tech companies that we monthly manage. You guys can look it up. It's called Pulse on our website. It has over 400 categories of SaaS. And we're able to actually see exactly who's spending the most in every category. Then I can tier the entire tech ecosystem based on ad spend and decide who's worth spending the most capital to acquire and essentially build a formula. So this allows us to essentially use data relevant to our industry. Let's say you're in cybersecurity. I would argue organizations that have greater risk usually will pay more for cybersecurity software. So how can I quantify risk and then layer that as a data point across the total addressable market and then essentially tier my target accounts based on who will pay me the most money? And then I can match my capital allocation to essentially future AOV. And that allows me to be more efficient. Okay, so this is my version of it. Every industry has the opportunity to use relevant data to themselves to figure out what makes someone a better buyer for you. Now, it's a little hard, though. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So when you do this, I have 100,000 accounts. After Derek and his team works exceptionally hard, we manually verify 100,000 accounts down to 22,000. Now, the key here is to have sales sign off on it. These are not 22,000 accounts for marketing. These are 22,000 accounts for the directive organization business strategy to go acquire. This is your total addressable market. So the difference of what we're doing here is every single solitary account we want in the world, we have signed off on. And now when we advertise, it's not a matter of if it's a good lead or if it's a good account. It is we've already manually verified it's a great account. How now do we get their awareness? Now you can do out of office. Now you can do connected TV. Now you can do audio. Now you can do LinkedIn. Now you can do social. Now you can do programmatic. Why? Because every single solitary impression is going to an account that sales and marketing have both signed off on. Now we're a team and we're playing the same game together.